Capricorn rising. Uranus has been in the sign of Taurus in your 5th house for the last 8 years. So since 2018, your relationship to fun, your relationship to creativity, romance, playfulness, children has undergone a dramatic change. Uranus comes along and it shakes up and wakes up and redirects us in particular life areas. And in the sign of Taurus, that is a fixed earth sign. So this is a sign that doesn't like to experience change, but ultimately does need to experience the change to show us what the divine possibilities are, that the possibilities are so much broader than we thought that they were at the beginning. Perhaps you started 2018 and perhaps now at the beginning of Uranus moving into Gemini and out of your 5th house, your children are now leaving home, going to university, moving out. And whilst that's not necessarily been an enjoyable experience, it's very much one of those experiences in life that we all have to traverse. And it's like there's a reluctance to letting our children go and flourish, but there's also this desire to allow our children to become these individual souls in this lifetime, that they are their own people, they are their own adults, and they are getting out there in the world, and they will always come home to us. They will always come home to play at various times, but that period of intense parenting has now finished. Perhaps you're moving into a period of life where you are becoming a parent for the first time since 2018, and this has really shaken up your experience of having some time to have fun yourself, and doing anything for yourself could have felt a little bit stifled because there is so much that goes into raising children. But now that your children are getting slightly older, there is more of an opportunity to see that playfulness can take place in various guises. It doesn't have to be in this very kind of set way that you've always lived. Creativity doesn't have to sit within the boundaries of this very kind of rigid structure, which you have perhaps always viewed things as a Capricorn rising. But actually, you have been able to bring in a stronger sense of freedom, and that creativity doesn't necessarily have to sit within these rigid structures. So Uranus is now moving into the sign of Gemini in your 6th house on Monday the 27th of April. And your 6th house is the house of health and well-being. This is the house of daily routines and small animals. So this is really shaking up and rapidly elevating your experience of what benefits you can really receive from doing your daily routines differently. If you're very stuck in your daily routines, which, I mean, as a Capricorn rising and Gemini ruling your 6th house, you're probably quite flexible with your daily routines, but Uranus comes along and says, let's be even more flexible. Let's add in more communication. Let's add in more reading, more writing, more music, more playfulness, more curiosity. Are there hobbies that you want to do with your hands? Is there an act of service that you can get involved in with the local community? Are there short journeys that you can make? Perhaps you can volunteer at your local veg box service, and you can deliver a few veg boxes out to your local neighborhood. Perhaps there's like a community band that you can get involved in as a volunteer, and you can start expressing yourself more musically. And maybe over the next 8 years, you can discover that you become a great songwriter, but you start this 8-year period at the end of April 2026, not thinking that you've got a songwriting bone in your body. But Uranus comes along and says, try the thing. And it nudges us and it says, like, you are capable of this. And just realize and recognize and see how much freedom and an expansion and divine insight you receive from trying new things, from being curious, from utilizing your local neighborhood, from making short journeys. Get out, take a daily walk, see what comes to you. It's almost like getting into the idea of walking meditations can rapidly increase your relationship to the divine and receiving downloads. So with all of this Uranus talk, we cannot ignore the fact that we've got a huge pile up of Aries placements in the sky right now. And between your 6th house of Gemini and your 4th house of Aries, there is a sextile aspect made, which is the nature of Venus, which means there is a very helpful, very supportive, loving, flowing connection going on between your house of daily routines and health and well-being and service to others and small pets, and your house of home, family, soul tribe. This is your soul family. This can be your bloodline family or your people that you consider to be your family. This can be the home that you live in. And there's something about really enjoying those daily routines at home. And like I say, getting out into the local neighborhood, perhaps you are becoming an artist at home, perhaps you are creating artworks at home in this very Aries childlike way, allowing that pure childlike expression to come out, because that's a very Aries thing, very, very childlike, very creative, very bright, very, very colorful. And then you're delivering free prints to your local neighborhood through this sixth house. And that is supporting your own sense of well-being, because you're providing a service to other people to uplift their spirits, which is then feeding back into your own experience of self and vitality.